All right, welcome back to the Budget Cut Podcast. This is Sean Connors, CEO of E-Team Sponsor, back for another round. And we've brought in one of my favorites, Andreas Wolf, the Director of Athletics at College of San Mateo in the 3C2A out here in California. He's been the AD there for the past 14 years. So, Andreas, we appreciate you joining us today and sharing how things are going down there in San Mateo.
You got it. And you're one of my favorites, Sean. So the feelings.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, hey, let's jump right in, man. How are things going down there? How has it impacted you, your campus, coaches, student athletes? What's going on in CSM?
Yeah, it's been extremely impactful, as you might imagine. The most impactful thing was having to cancel the spring sports right in the middle of the season. I mean, almost all of our programs were just like firing on all cylinders, softball, baseball, track and field, et cetera. We were just rolling, and to really, see the evolution of how this came about, initially with the, okay, we're going to continue to compete, but we're going to prevent spectators from coming. And then within like a next day or two, it's like, boom, we're out of business. Right.
Yeah.
And so, the great thing was, as student athletes, coaches are very resilient people. Yeah. It's not like they're pulling their hair out and screaming that the world is over. It's like, okay, what do we need to do? Let's figure this thing out. Let's pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and go forward. So we are now in the process of, engaging in normal operations. So what's important for us and what's important for the student athletes is to give them a sense of normalcy as much as you can, right, in this whole new climate. So what does that mean? So, for example, 8 o'clock in the morning, my football coaches are on a Zoom meeting, right, with all their players, right? All their players are popping in on a Zoom meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're going through, okay, here are the things we're going to do today. Here are the things we're going to accomplish, and they get those things accomplished. So it could be engaging in activity to maintain some of the strength that they've worked on over the season. It could be some of the academic study halls that they're doing. All those types of things that they've done in the past, they're trying to retain in a fashion of, like I said, normalcy, just to kind of keep them going. So that's on one end is what are we doing with our current student athletes? Then the other end is like, this is the height of recruiting season. This is when we're bringing these high school kids onto our campus. We're showing around campus. We're meeting with them. We're going to parents' homes, sitting down with them. So it's like, okay, well, what do we do? So we've always had presentations for these families, right? Whether they come onto our campus or whether we go into their home. So we create Zoom meetings for these
campus tours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you create a Zoom meeting, you invite the parents to the Zoom meeting, and you share your PowerPoint presentation with them that way, right? Yeah. So we're continuing in the same fashion, albeit, some slight modifications. But again, normalcy is the key in all this.
That's awesome. I mean, it's just, again, it goes back to what you said, key point of resiliency, right? Like people that are in athletics, we're often referred to as the glue guys, right? We're the glue that, that accountability factor between commitment and results, and knowing, hey, you're going to have to overcome adversity. And the resiliency sounds like it's definitely shining through on your campus, albeit it's an unprecedented set of circumstances for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And in any walk of life that you go through, in any business structure, you're going to have those that are way ahead of the curve and those that are behind. And so I'm setting up, Zoom meetings with all my coaches to sit down and share best practices. So they're doing a great job with that, coaching each other up, sharing information, because ultimately this could be a complete benefit for us. If we're that far ahead of everything and everybody else is sitting around going, well, what do we do? How do we do it? Well, we're already there. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just mentioning one of my favorite quotes from Art of War from Sun Tzu is, in the midst of chaos, there's opportunity. And I think,
absolutely.
I think it sounds like you guys are definitely, you've taken that on for sure. And that hey, there's an opportunity here for you guys, and this is great. I mean, what an awesome response from you and your team in terms of coaches and student athletes. It's some notes I jotted down. You've created a new normal, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Created a new normal. You guys have created hopefully a platform that allows you to retain all of the gains that your student athletes have made physically and academically, and you're sharing best practices. That's awesome. I mean, that's for those that are on the podcast and taking a listen here. I mean, these are some great golden nuggets here of wisdom from Andreas. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, even let me just drill down a little bit further. So
sure. Yeah, let's hear it.
We have employees in our area that are really, hands-on. They need to be on campus to really function. For example, an athletic trainer. For example, our equipment manager. What do you do? They're getting paid. It's not like we're cutting them off. So what do you do with them? So I met with my athletic trainers last week, and I said, what do you guys think about doing Zoom meetings with our student athletes that are going, they've got post-op, rehab. They're having to do the things that they need to do to maintain, all the benefits that they've already received or achieved through, hands-on. Can you do something by Zoom with them? And they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. So starting next week, we're going to create Zoom, and I'm going to have the coaches come on with their kids. They're going to invite all the kids that are going through all this stuff. They're going to come on to a major Zoom meeting. The athletic trainers are going to say, here's where we're setting up our Zoom meetings. And they're going to actually look at these kids doing their particular rehabilitation exercises or modify based on the fact that we don't have equipment, but they can do that live. So again, it's like, don't waste this opportunity. Keep them going, keep them on a plan, and utilize whatever resources that we have available to us now to keep them ahead of the curve, right?
That is awesome. I mean, because you think about it, you think athletic training, you're like, well, if I'm an athletic trainer, I can't virtually tape someone's ankle,
Right.
But at the same time, they're also not competing. So there's no need to tape the ankle, right? But you talk about athletic training in terms of rehab or, that's huge. That is awesome. That's great. Well, I know that there's plenty of athletic directors that are out there that are going to be paying attention. 2-year, 4-year, high school, doesn't matter. Opportunities for that, for their athletic department and their athletic training programs to leverage something like that. That's great insight. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
Speaking of, keeping a focus on the student athletes, obviously those are, they're the reason why we all do what we do, right? Our experiences as student athletes and why we want to give back. Keeping the student athlete in mind, how has it affected your student athletes? What have you seen? What have you heard? What are some of the things maybe you guys are doing outside of what you just detailed for us to keep them front and center and support them as best you guys can?
Yeah, again, I've been in numerous meetings because I kind of wear two hats. I'm a dean also, and so I'm heavily entrenched on the academic side, and so I'm in all these meetings about what are we doing for our students as a whole, right? Obviously, there are some that have they're technologically challenged. They don't have a computer at home. They don't have internet at home, things like that. So we're kind of navigating through that process. But our primary focus right now is on the student athlete. And so whatever I'm hearing from these meetings on the academic side, as I'm bringing over to the athletic side, honestly, I haven't heard any negative feedback from any of the students about, again, oh, woe is me, right? I think the coaches do a fantastic job of really kind of displaying the attitude that they need to have going forward, right? There's nothing you can do about this. You can consternate about what could have happened, what should have happened, and all that. That's not going to get you anywhere. All that's going to get you is anxiety and depression and all that other kind of stuff. It's like, what do you need to do going forward? Yeah. And they do a great job at that. It's like, you live for today, you live for tomorrow, not for what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
And like I said, with all of our programs, this is, I look at like our softball program, 7 years in a row going to the state championship and not winning. And I honestly thought this is the year, right? This is the year it's going to happen, right? And boom, the carpet gets swept out from underneath us. But again, it's like, you can't worry about that. You got to worry about what you're going to do going forward. So it's maintaining the focus on academics because we want to get them to where they need to be. It's maintaining focus on your current physical abilities, and keeping that honed and in tune. It's maintaining what you've done academically. Can you transition? Are you a good distance ed learner? Are you not? We have some tools that we can give you to help you transition that. I wouldn't be a good distance ed learner because I'm fidgety. I've got ADD just coursing through my veins, right? So I think just giving these students the tools that they need and the focus going forward as opposed to going backwards is a key in all this. And like I said, coaches are so good at it's not the last game you won that you're worried about. It's the next game that you're playing, and this is where the focus is, right?
That's great. I love the message of control what you can control. If you can't control it, don't focus on it. Focus on what you can control. And I feel great going through a lot of these interviews because I'm getting a lot of the same messages back, which is great. So I think there's an encouraging aspect to this, is that we've got the right leaders in the right places on these campuses that are leading the coaches and the student athletes through this. And I think that's a very positive message that I'm very thankful for all of you joining us and being able to share that, because it's important that people get some positive news out there, because they can easily go down a rabbit hole of a lot of negative and depressing news. So this is great. It's awesome. It's as challenging as it may be to be a student athlete right now and a coach. There's absolutely some great opportunities that are coming by virtue of the circumstances we're all having to deal with. So
right.
It's great to hear that.
And the other good part of all this is, one of the things that we've done really well is we try to bring, in our environment, we try to bring our kids in the summertime, right? Or even now, like for football, they'd be starting spring ball here. And we do what's called enrollment. Yeah, where you bring the high school kids in. Well, these high school kids, there's logistical issues. So maybe they have to travel too far and they can't get here, right? Or they have other things going on in their life. They got no excuse now. There's no excuse. There's no logistical barriers going on. So it's like, okay, let's enroll them in these classes and let's get them honed in on what our game plan is, how we're going to teach these kids so that when they do arrive into camp in summer, they know everything that's going on already, right? So it's trying to stay ahead of that curve.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone's looking for a sense of direction right now, right? Leadership takes action. And so for leaders to be taking action in this way, ultimately, whether it's the right or the wrong way to do it, that's for none of us to judge right now, because this is all uncharted waters.
Absolutely.
I'll heap a lot of praise on those that are in positions like yourself. You have to make decisions, and some of them may not necessarily be ones that you want to make. More by virtue, you have to make it. But the kids are certainly looking to people to make decisions for them. Help give them something to focus on, and great to hear that you guys are taking that approach. One of the questions that I had for you, Andreas, was going to be, kind of this new normal, and looking at it from a 3C2A perspective, eligibility. Mentioned spring sports being canceled and those student athletes on the softball team, amongst other sports. Talk to us a little bit about, what has the 3C2A communicated to you guys at this point in terms of eligibility, now that seasons of sport have been canceled for the spring, how you think that may impact you guys going into next year, maybe even higher level, what's the vision for you and CSM athletics moving forward, taking that into account?
Yeah, it's challenging because ultimately we're waiting for the NC2A to come up with what they're going to do with eligibility, right?
Sure.
So we've already made the determination that we are going to grant these kids an additional year. So all of our spring sport athletes that got their year cut off short are going to continue, or are not going to lose that year of eligibility. So the NAIA has already responded to us saying that we are going to accept that from you guys. So you look at it from a sophomore standpoint in terms of eligibility. Now this sophomore has another year. They can play another year at our level, or they can move on to the next level, having only basically burned a year of eligibility, assuming the NC2A, acknowledges that year. But the problem is on the other end. So now you have all these seniors at the NC2A, yes, D1, D2, D3, that may also get their year of eligibility reinstated, are not going to go anywhere, and it doesn't create that room for our kids to go places. Yeah. So now they're stuck in this quandary of, do I try to go anyway in the few spots that are going to be available, or do I stay an additional year? Some of our kids are on, we have this thing called the Promise, where their education is paid for. It's kind of like a scholarship. It's not an athletic scholarship, but it's a
Sure.
It's a financial needs based scholarship to them. But it's a degree completion scholarship. So most of them will be done, and now they'll be cut off and won't have the financial support to stay, but there's no room for them to go at the D1 or D2, D3 level, right?
Yeah.
They could go in AIA, depending on what their decision is and how many spots are available. But these are the things that we're trying to navigate. That's what the 3C2A is working hard to ensure. But they've already made the decision that we are going to grant these kids an additional year of eligibility, that they're not going to lose that, right?
That's great.
Basketball, I'm not too sure yet what their decision is on that, because we were at the state championship level.
Yeah.
And so, it's only a handful of programs that really got their season cut short. The large majority completed their season. So we don't know where that's going to go yet, but all the other spring sports get their year of eligibility back.
It's one thing. It's obviously there's a new executive director or CEO at the 3C2A level. By the way, welcome to your first month on the job there, Jennifer. But it's been, it really just shows that the 3C2A, you as athletic directors are continuing to keep the student athlete front and center, try to make the best decision for them.
Right.
Sure, the lasting effects, none of us will know, I think, for some time as to really how that's going to impact everybody. But understanding, hey, some dominoes need to fall from the NCAA and the NAIA level. I'm encouraged as well that it seems like they're going through the same type of thought process. And hey, how do we best take care of student athletes? And that's at the forefront of them making these decisions. It's a good mindset and place for them to be. That's for sure.
Yeah, the NC2A is a huge bureaucracy, and sure, it's a Titanic on the sea. It's a slow moving vessel, and it does not turn around.
Don't expect anything to happen anytime soon, and that's not a knock against them. Like you said, it's like asking a battleship destroyer in the middle of the ocean to turn on a dime.
That's right. Not going to happen.
So we're good. Well, hopefully leadership there, we give them all the credit in the world for having to make some tough decisions right now, and definitely look forward to seeing what decisions they make coming down the pipeline here.
Sure.
Couple things personally. So, you're going through this. Like you mentioned, this is unprecedented. It's uncharted waters for everybody. There's not a whole lot of us out there that have anything to draw on in terms of previous experiences that maybe are like this. The only thing I can think of in my personal situation is I was in the financial services industry in 2007, 2008, when the economy was a wet paper bag and just, fell apart there on us. Other than that, we really don't have anything to lean on from a past experience standpoint. What are you leaning on in terms of a source of strength right now? I don't know if it's teaching, a book, a person, a group of people. What are you looking to right now in terms of sources of strength, wisdom to help you make these decisions and lead?
That's a good question. I think right now we're just primarily in this this mode of trying to ascertain as much normalcy as possible, right? And so my thought process is focused on not only dealing with the immediate changeover into how we're delivering instruction, how we're delivering coaching, and all these other things that we do, but for how long, right? Sure. What is this going to mean in the summertime? What is this going to mean in the fall? Will this ugly thing raise its head again in the fall. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, I'm really not, to be honest with you, I'm not looking to find things to prop myself up, because I'm so inundated with trying to focus on the future and how we're going to address these things as they come up. It's funny, the last couple of months, we've been focusing on the crises that we've recently been handed, namely wildfires, PG&E shutdowns, air quality index. We were focused on that. And I think that kind of prepared us for what's taking place today, albeit, at a different level. But it's kind of given us a level of preparation for this. So, again, I'm not looking to lean on anything. What I'm trying to do is be the resource that others can lean on. And so I'm constantly, on the phone with my coaches. I'm constantly setting up Zoom meetings. I'm constantly, on the phone, like the other day, I the whole day I sat down and called every single one of them and just had a conversation with them, not about their job necessarily, but more or less along the lines of how they doing, right? How are you doing through all this? And how coaches are, they're just very, rock solid. And like, well, what do you mean? I'm fine. What are you getting at? What do you really want? But just to reassure them that my job has not changed. My job has always been to advocate for you and to get you resources to do your job. That's not changed. As a matter of fact, now you may need that more than you have in the past. So that's kind of where my focus is. It's really to be that post for them to kind of lean on or bounce ideas off of, more so than anything else. Probably in the next 2-3 weeks, I'll be like lying on the floor crying like a little baby. But in the meantime, it's like, okay, let's focus on what we need to do going forward.
Well, I think, and it's commendable, because I think, Andreas, I think that's the, again, go back to the resiliency factor of, student athletes, coaches, obviously you being one. Positions like this as an athletic director and a leader, it's like a first, in a way, you're front lines of your school. Certainly we can't thank the people that are literally on the front lines of these things, the doctors and nurses and care professionals that are out there helping battle this thing, and trying to keep as many of us healthy and safe as possible. But there's varying levels of, kind of first responders. And for you guys have a large role, big part to play in this. And, we a previous interview that we had today, we've had a couple coaches talk about, the mental health of the student athletes, the mental health of the coaches. And it's great to see that you're leading with, hey, look, these are human beings too. I need to check in with them on just the personal front. How you doing? Right. It's interesting to bring that up. We as a company have done the same thing. We stopped sending emails out. We're not asking for solicitations for fundraisers. We stopped. We're not going to send any for the rest of the month of March. We'll just be on a case-by-case basis moving forward. We want to be sensitive to that. And we've really taken the approach, people over profit. We want our team to make sure that they're reaching out to, people like yourself and just check in. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? Is everybody healthy? Everybody safe? And I think, we want to build as much goodwill as possible right now, because that's what matters. How much money we're helping them raise. Sure, next fall is going to come, and athletic departments are going to need to raise money again, and we understand our role we'll play in that. But it's great to see that you're taking that approach. That's awesome.
I think throughout all of this, I gotta believe that only good will come out at the other end, right? I think we've all, and this is just kind of my personal take on this, but I think we've all been in this world of, I'm on a hamster wheel. I'm kind of grinding away. I'm doing my thing. And now all of a sudden it's like, bam, no, you're not, it's going to stop, and now you're sitting back going, wow, I miss this person, miss that person. And I think it's going to bring us a little bit closer together as a society. And I think we started, breaking apart a little bit, getting into our own little domains. And The sense of community, I think people are going to really miss that. And, to your point of just reaching out to people and saying, how you doing? Let's stop what we're doing here. Because that's not the most important thing right now. Let's just see how everybody's doing. I think ultimately that's got to be what's going to come out at the other end. And I firmly believe that.
I agree with you. Well said. Certainly there's plenty of uncertainty moving forward. But I think there's a lot of certainty. I think there's a lot of, comfort in knowing that, hey, look, there's a lot of people that are taking this type of mindset. That's why I'm excited that I got you on here today, because this has been such a great message for you to be able to share. I mean, there's a lot of ADs out there that I know are turning to people like yourselves and trying to find, hey, how are you dealing with this? And,
right.
Because they have uncertainty in their own mind. So if we can empower them with, hey, here's just another one that's out there, another person that's taking this approach, and that can help a handful of people, then hey, we're all going to be a part of that solution, and we're all going to become better when this whole thing ends up subsiding. So, well, Andreas, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on. I feel like every time you and I get a chance to really dive down and have a conversation, it's usually on a golf course at one of our deals, or an opportunity where you and I can share a pint. And so I look forward to doing that again with you soon once this whole distancing thing is done.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give a shout out to the Honorable Ron Hannon and Gavilan College.
You had to go there.
I had to go there. Well, but I'm actually going to turn it around a little bit. I'm going to say, Ron, we had Andreas come on first. So
there you go.
We'll have you come on second, because I know he always claims that he's number one in golf and you finished behind him. So we put you first when it came to the athletic director insight. So
there you go.
Give Ronnie a hard time there. But Andreas, again, really appreciate you hopping on. We'll definitely circle back with you in the next handful of weeks. Love to hear, kind of the approach you guys have taken, how that's serving your student athletes and your coaches well, and continued success. Good luck with everything that you guys are embarking upon, and we'll look forward to catching up with you here down the road.
My pleasure, Sean. Thanks for having me, and be well, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Okay, bud. Take care.
All right, Andres, take care.
Bye.